Review.
Wake up. Wake up.
Downloading a new day.
Jeff and Jeremy in the morning on 93.3 KZO. It is 8:07 on National Coffee Day, Jeff. Good morning. Yeah, isn't that nice?
It's a lovely day.
And Jeff is drinking some Starbucks French roast, which is my favorite, as long as it's made at your house, which it was made at his house.
Yes, if it's made
Starbucks.
at Starbucks, you actually asked for. They said, "Do you want any creamer?" You say, "No, just can I have some Pepto?" Put it right.
Maybe what we should do is ask him to pour
right in the coffee,
about 3/4 full, and then just hot water for the rest. Oh my God!
I don't understand.
The one good thing I have going is I'm not going bald. I don't, I have gray hair, but I don't want my hair to fall out because the coffee's so strong. But today's National Coffee Day. I was looking at some bullet points here when I clicked on it, and it says Hawaii and California are the only two states in the U.S. that grow coffee.
Where are we growing coffee in California?
I have no idea. I didn't even know we grew California coffee.
Like, where is that growing? Humboldt? I mean, I
don't know. We're gonna have to look into it. I mean, I'm trying to think. I don't know. I've even been to up near Napa and Sonoma, and I've been gifted coffee from people, but it was never local coffee. It was coffee that was made from Brazil.
Biggest concentrations. Get this. Very strange. We did not know this. It's right there in our backyard. Santa Barbara and San Diego counties.
Really?
Yes.
Santa Barbara grows coffee.
Yeah. Most of the farms are fewer than 5 years old. This is as of 2018.
Oh, so this is a new thing.
Yeah. And their beans are just starting to mature. So they think that the biggest concentrations of coffee grows in California are in Santa Barbara and San Diego County.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's kind of cool. I want to try some California Santa Barbara County coffee then.
I mean, somebody's got to know somebody, right?
I mean, you're just making the beans, right?
You're growing the beans, yes. And it takes a while for it to get started.
Yes, growing the beans is the proper way to say that. But and beans are beans, correct? I mean, you can do a bean, and then when you roast it, that's kind of how you determine the flavor of the coffee. Isn't that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Whether you're going to do a dark roast or a light roast or a French roast or whatever.
According to this article that I have from NPR here, it says that it's the state's next gold mine. Like people are starting to grow it fast and furious in those regions. Goleta is a place where they are growing a lot of the coffee. Interesting.
In Santa Barbara County, that's where it's at. It's Santa Goleta. Mm-hmm. Huh. Where was the other place you said?
San Diego County.
Oh, San Diego. It's like desert there.
Well, depending on where you're at in the county, right? I mean, if you're out by the ocean, it's not.
Well, I guess it's not. Yeah, but it's like desert by the ocean.
Yeah.
But I understand the marine influence would be big time. I did not know that the lighter the roast, the more caffeine is in the coffee. See, I would have thought it was the other way. Probably just because it tastes stronger. Yeah. But the lighter the roast, the more caffeine. So
that's
if you
what they
need
say.
More of a caffeine punch, according to this, the lighter the roast, the more caffeine.
See, I don't get that.
I guess you roast the caffeine right out?
I don't get that at all. Like, I feel as if, though, if I have a French roast, which is the darkest of the roasts, and it's the ones I like because I like it for the flavor, that is giving me, because it has more flavor.
Right.
I feel like
that's what I agree.
The mental aspects are, okay, that's going to get me off my butt and going. Because I think a lot of coffee is not just caffeine delivery, but it's also mental state. Like, oh, I can't get going in the morning until I've had my cup of coffee, right? Because there are times I could drink a cup of coffee right before I go to sleep, and if I'm tired enough, I'll sleep. No problem.
I've been drinking this tea for, 3 hours now.
Tea? Why are you drinking tea on coffee day?
Because my wife was like, hey, let's do this cleanse thing. You can't have coffee for 2 days. I didn't have coffee yesterday. I'm going to have coffee today. I've decided I'm going to go make a cup of coffee
it's
right
cool.
now.
It's kind of cool that your wife gets to experience both of what we talk about, the push and pull of raising a child and raising an animal.
Yeah.
Yeah. She gets to experience both those.
Well, because she was like, hey, we're going to do this thing. You're not supposed to have coffee for 3 days. It's not the caffeine. It's something in the coffee that's in your system that you need to flush out. I go, well, what's the point of doing this if as soon as these 3 days are over, I'm drinking as much coffee as I can. I'm putting it right back in, whether it's the acidity in the coffee
to bring your levels back up.
Now, one other fact about coffee that I also would not have believed, I would have, if I was asked true or false, that when you add cream to coffee, it helps the coffee stay warmer 20% longer. So if you add cream to your coffee will stay hotter 20% longer. But the cream is cold, or at least at room temperature.
Yeah, that's a bit bizarre, because I always put the cream in to cool down my coffee so I could drink it fast. So I could drink it quicker because I don't want to burn my mouth.
Coffee stays warm 20% longer when you add cream. That's according to this article in the Daily Meal. All right. The average American spends about $1,100 on coffee a year. I averaged out what I spend. I think I spend about maybe $350. And that $1,100 is crazy. That's at like $30 a month.
You spend $350?
$30 a month for 12 months is about $360 or something like that. And then you go out to eat and you get a cup of coffee. It's got $3. Remember when coffee was $0.25? Now it's $3. I went somewhere the other day.
Strange to me.
I went somewhere the other day, and it was a really good locally roasted coffee, but it was $4 if I wanted unlimited. They gave options. You could have $1, which you get 1 cup of coffee. All right, 8 ounces, maybe not.
Yeah.
And then, but if you go $4, then it's unlimited. I'm like, well, bring me the unlimited. I can't drink 1 cup of coffee.
Because I don't know if you've noticed or not, but these restaurants, especially if you go to a breakfast restaurant around here, like a brunch type place,
right?
That you like, would you like some coffee? Yes. And they bring you out this cup that's the size of a teacup, and they fill it halfway. So you're getting about 4 to 5, maybe ounces of coffee. And you're like, how much am I paying for this coffee? You got to go the unlimited plan just to get your money's worth.
But it's still a very small cup, and I'm always out before I get it refilled. And it's not that it's bad service, just they're not giving me very much. Can I get a bigger cup, please?
Yeah. Bring me the truck stop cup.
If I'm going unlimited, I want a bigger cup.
I want Bubba's travel cup from inside of his big rig.
KZOZ.com. The Red Zone Challenge is there, and every week we get to reward someone with being the number one picker. They get $25 to go to Pappy McGregor's, as well as getting a little bit closer to going to $500 cash, a trip to Hawaii.
Things you remember is just amazing to me.
This was my great-grandma Mabel's favorite show, and we never missed Bonanza. And the reason we play that is because we have a Cartwright on the phone. John Cartwright from Santa Maria, not from the Ponderosa Ranch. Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Now, I noticed your name is Haas, so obviously you're a Bonanza fan as well.
Yeah, that's right. Haas, Little Joe, and the gang.
Why do you spell it? Why do you say it Bonanza? Like you're
Bonanza. Sorry, Bonanza. I don't know why I said that.
Speaking the King's English.
Can I be honest with you? On National Coffee Day, my wife said drink tea for the next 2 days. Try to do this cleanse.
Oh, I gotcha.
Well, I just took my first drink of coffee, and
so you're working it out of your system right now.
It's literally like steroids on my tongue. I'm so happy right now. I've got a big smile. So
what was the final in the Sunday night game? I guess that's something I could look up.
34-30, was it?
On the tie break, John had 38-31.
No, it was 37-30. I was one off on each one.
One off on each. That's right. Yeah, because it says that your approximate is 2.
And that's what it takes to win a week in the Red Zone Challenge, because there's a lot of people that are going to be right there neck and neck with you. It's all about predicting that final score of that Sunday night
especially
game,
this week, as there was it was 12 was the winning number this week.
There was a lot of guys people at that 12 number.
Yeah, well, the week before there was a lot of people at the 16 number, which was crazy because it was week 2 of a season. We have no idea. Have you heard the latest news this morning? Haas.
What? No, I haven't heard it.
Well, COVID has struck the NFL.
Oh, really?
Dun 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 dun.
Oh yeah, it's coming. It's coming.
Dun, 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 dun. Yeah, the Tennessee Titans have had 8 people test positive for COVID, the coronavirus for COVID, which now puts the Minnesota Vikings in peril because they just played the Tennessee Titans, So now the Minnesota Vikings and the Tennessee Titans have suspended activities moving forward for the week, and we don't know what's going to happen with the games that they're supposed to play this upcoming week at the people they're playing.
So Tennessee has got 8 confirmed cases of people that have tested positive. Mm-hmm. And, who knows where it's going to go from there. Oh, who did they play the week before? Tennessee. We'd have to go, I guess, look that up. So, yes.
Well, does it matter the week before? Does it matter the week before or does it matter now? Because they've been testing them all along.
That's true. Well, so one person must have got it in the locker room and gave it to everybody else. Who knows how, whatever. But anyway, so that'll be interesting to see what happens if you're a fantasy football player moving forward, if you have anybody on the Tennessee Titans team or the Vikings.
It's funny because I have Adam Thielen, and I'm like, oh, God, Adam Thielen can't play. But then I was like, okay, well, I'll throw Brandon Cooks in the lineup. Guess who the Houston Texans are supposed to play this week? The Minnesota Vikings.
Plus red zone implications if they're going to have to suspend a week and not be able to play. But at least we made it to week 3, right, Haas? We made it to week 3, and you are now, you've got the $25, and you get to hear Boston all week. So let's see, Seth is going to play a song for you, Suze will play a song, and Chiba will play a song for you, and we'll play a song every morning at this time. And then, so there you go. Congratulations.
Hey, thanks, guys.
That's for Mr. John Cartwright, Santa Maria. He goes by Haas in the Red Zone Challenge, and he is the Week 3 winner and picks up $25 to go to Pappy McGregor's. They ever bet closer to that $500 cash and a trip to Hawaii, you can still play. They dropped the worst 4 weeks. Get to KZOZ.com. Click the Red Zone Challenge.
Okay, so we're sitting here trying to figure out how the NFL can make this work.
So the news, if you just tuned in, is that the Tennessee Titans had 8 players test positive, probably yesterday afternoon or early this morning.
Probably early this morning.
To coronavirus. So they played Minnesota last week. And right now we haven't heard anything out about any other team. There's a very good chance, obviously, that the Minnesota Vikings are going to have some cases as well.
Well, come on. That's not a given.
I'm just saying, you're playing face-to-face, hard-to-hard, you're spitting on each other, you're sweating on each other.
It depends on what the staff and the personnel that got the positive tests are. Yeah. Like if it's, linemen, then chances are
that's true.
They are going to probably spread the disease.
If it was a bunch of bench warmers,
this is
then
what we talked about, right?
Big deal.
This is what we were talking about all off season. Don't know how they can do it. I was surprised they were able to get through 3 weeks of the NFL. So let's talk about this, what it means for the Tennessee Titans, what it means for the Minnesota Vikings, what it means for the Houston Texans, who were supposed to play the Minnesota Vikings, and the Pittsburgh Steelers, who were supposed to play the Tennessee Titans this upcoming week. What happens for these teams? Now, Pittsburgh is supposed to have their bye, and I'm just going to the bye because they're supposed to have their bye in week 8. Do they have a week 3 bye and play the Tennessee Titans in week 8? But then the Tennessee Titans had they have their own bye week already scheduled, and chances are it's not in week 8.
Well, I know you're talking about making up the games during their bye week, meaning they would forego their bye week because whatever week they would have to miss, meaning the Tennessee Titans are probably going to have to miss this week, that would now become their bye week. Mm-hmm. And so, the problem is eventually this is going to become a problem because if more and more teams get it, then you're going to be.
Well, this is where the NFL went wrong, and this is what I've been a proponent on.
You extend the season; it's the only thing you can do. You can't play 2 games in 1 week.
The whole time I've said, why does the NFL stagger out the bye weeks? Why don't they just do it all 1 week? Take a week off. Normally around the time that the World Series would take place. Okay. And then, so if you scheduled it against then that way you don't have to worry about people watching the World Series, not watching your football product. You take the week off. Everybody gets a bye week in the middle of the season. Then you resume again.
It's like spring break
with the full. Yes, exactly. It's a little
break,
a little breather, because then you're not going to run into a problem like you have with a pandemic where this team's week 4, this team was week 8, this team's week 9, this team's week 12. What are you going to do?
But that's not where we're at.
They should have thought of that this year, though.
Well, I don't know if it would have helped them, because if it was going to be around November, but now they've got coronavirus now, and you can't have a team that
But
can't
you're
play.
almost guaranteed games on that bye week where nobody was scheduled to play.
Well,
then you could say, okay, well, you know what, Tennessee and Houston, you're playing in your bye week. You're getting this week off.
Just put the brakes on for a minute, because if I remember a conversation we had in very early August, all right, when the Major League Baseball season came out and then baseball teams started coming up with coronavirus cases, you didn't think they would make it to August without having to cancel the season.
Different. Baseball can do a doubleheader.
But I know what I'm saying back then. I'm just saying you thought it was not even going to make it through August, and they've been able to figure it out. So, and I understand they can do doubleheaders and all that kind of stuff. So I get all that too. I'm just saying, let's hold on a second. Let's just see what happens.
Major League Baseball had a plan.
We got to wait for the news to come out. Officially, it has come out that the Tennessee Titans have 8 players that have tested positive. We don't know who the players are. We don't know their positions. For God's sake, they could be bench warmers.
The Vikings,
is not a big deal.
Well, even if they're bench warmers, they're breathing on the sidelines. The Vikings and the Tennessee Titans have suspended activities. Good chance that the Vikings and the Tennessee Titans aren't going to be able to prepare for their games this week. What's that mean for the Steelers and the Texans? Because the Steelers and the Texans were hoping to play a game this week, but they can't because Tennessee wasn't washing their hands. They weren't wearing their masks.
More sanitizer. I don't know. They pay somebody a lot more money than us to figure this out.
Yeah, but the thing is, we haven't figured out. Just have a universal bye week, week 9. Everybody gets week 9 off. Then if you have this problem in a pandemic, you're like, okay, well, we now have 4 teams that are going to play on week 9. They are the Steelers, they are the Titans, they are the Texans, and they are the Vikings.
Well, why couldn't they still do that? Nobody's taken a bye week yet. Bye weeks don't start until week after next.
Because they have different bye weeks. They all have, you mean you could
just reschedule.
Just say, okay, you know what? We didn't think this out very well. If you were scheduled to have your bye on week 5, guess what? It's now moved to week 9.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should step in and do something like that.
And the teams that weren't able to play in week 4, we're going to have you play in week 9.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, why not?
Hey, Jeff for commissioner, NFL commissioner right there. That's a good idea.
I have a little experience under my belt.
You've obviously been thinking about this.
I have a little experience under my belt.
93.3
Fantasy football experience.
Rocks the 805.
Still waiting for news from the NFL. What's going to happen with the Tennessee Titans contracting 8 cases of coronavirus?
We turned on the NFL Network while we were playing music just to see what they're saying. They're just ignoring it. Completely.
I'm sure they brought it up at some point, right? They have to announce it.
But I think that they're completely. But
they don't have an answer.
It should be dominating the headlines, and I believe this is Roger Goodell doing his best. Roger Goodell being like, "Well, just act like the problem doesn't exist, and we'll go ahead and move forward."
Congratulations to John Cartwright. He goes by Haas. He was our week 3 winner. And when you called him, his answering machine picked up, right?
Yes.
And then he picked up the phone.
Yeah,
so it was an old school answering machine.
I said, hey, this is Jeff from radio station. And once he heard it was us wanting to give him a prize, he picked up. My dad does this all the time.
Yeah, but that's old school.
Yeah, I know.
Who has an answering machine like that anymore?
You could screen the calls.
You can't screen the calls unless, you got caller ID, but... And I was thinking, wow, that's crazy. I have not heard about an answering machine like that in over a decade.
My dad does it all the time.
Which means he had to have a landline. So, I mean, who has a landline anymore?
Right. I don't call my dad's landline because I know that he's going to use that method to screen the call when I could just, when I'll just pop up on his cell phone, right? I'll just pop up on his cell phone and it'll be like, oh, he's like, hey, how's it going? Like, yeah, see how that cuts to the chase right there? It's like, why do you bother with the landline at all? Because you screen that call because you get a lot of robocalls, especially this time of year. In an election year, you get a lot of robocalls to that landline. What's the point of even having it? Like, get rid of all of it.
I remember when I got Charter back. We had Charter cable here. I don't know. It was when we moved here. They asked us to. They gave us the Charter and they said, "Hey, would you do some commercials for us?" And I'm like, "Hey, yeah, we'll do that. That's fine." And so we watched it, and it was pretty decent. But it came with a phone, and I didn't give the phone number out to anybody but you, my mom and dad, and maybe like my wife's parents and Charlene gave it out to her boss or somebody she worked with. And oh my God, you guys obviously never, and I said, here, this is for emergencies if you can't get a hold of us on our cell phones. And that damn phone rang 5-6 times a night after 5 o'clock, and it was a robocall every single, or it was, somebody looking for money, a donation, a charity, whatever.
So what'd you do?
I unplugged it.
Yep, you nipped it in the bud.
Yeah, got rid of it.
Or, as your family likes to say,
in the butt.
In the butt.
We nipped that right in the butt.
Nipped it in the butt.
Yeah. So, anyways, I was thinking about this when the dude answered the phone that I hadn't had a phone like that since we were in college in like 2000, like late 90s, early 2000s. We had one, and it sat at the apartment. And if you remember, right in the window that looked into the kitchen, and that's where the phone was.
Do you have a jack?
And that was the only phone we had.
Do you still have an outlet for a jack in your house? Most houses, I mean, unless they were built after 2002 or probably even 2009.
Now, our house that we currently live in now was built in, we've been there 6 years. I think it was built in 2010.
Oh, really? Oh, it's a new house then for you. I mean, some other people lived there for a short period of time.
I'm trying to think. Wait a second. Is that right? What is it, 2020? We lived there 6 years. Yeah, maybe 2011, 2012, wow. Somewhere in there. But there is only one phone jack, and it's over by where the satellite dish is. Mm-hmm. And they put that in because they used to download information through the phone jack.
Okay.
Now they do everything through Wi-Fi. But before Wi-Fi was a big deal, they would have the phone jack hooked up to the DirecTV box. That's the only phone jack in the house. There is no.
Was it there prior to you guys moving in?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Actually, maybe it was, maybe it wasn't.
It's just so funny. Like houses, they have these phone jacks in them, and they're a pain in the ass. You just buy a wall plate and you slap it on there and you cover everything up. But wall plate doesn't look good. I mean, if you really want to get tricky with it, you patch it, you do a little drywall patch and all that. But it's just these phone jacks sticking out of the wall. It's the stupidest looking things ever.
What other things do we not do anymore that we did 20 years ago? Like, my mom, I was talking to my mom about going somewhere, and she's like, just make sure you print out the directions. I'm like, you don't have to do that anymore, Mom. It's on your phone. Well, I don't know how to do that. Can you just print it out for me?
Print out the directions.
Remember, we used to go to MapQuest or whatever and print out the directions. You don't do that anymore.
Have you been to MapQuest recently?
I've not. I've not been to MapQuest in 20 years. No,
leaps and bounds behind Google Maps. So
and I use the same thing, but on iPhone it's iMaps. It's the same thing, though. It's just it's an icon, and you put in whatever you want. Even my truck, I've never used the GPS in the truck, and I used it the other day, and I hit the thing because I was listening to the podcast, a Fantasy Footballers podcast, and I wanted to listen to that, and I didn't want to deal with my phone interrupting, so I went to the truck GPS, and even my truck, when I said Rancho Maria Golf Course, it knew exactly where that was, and it brought up the address, and I went there. So, yeah. Anyways, what is it that you did 20 years ago that you're not doing anymore? We talked about answering machines and landlines and printing out your directions. Rewinding movies, VCR tape. I don't think we had Redbox in 2000, did we?
No, it's funny because you remember there used to be like the answer to binge watching was you had your VCR and you would go to the store and you would rent the VCR tapes. But then you had a little thing next to the VCR that was an automatic tape rewinder, so you didn't have to waste any time in your VCR.
Oh, I didn't have that. I wasn't that fancy.
Rewinding your VCR. It was usually like a Corvette or something that looked like a little car, and then you put the tape in it and you push it down, and then it would rewind it while you put the next one in. I mean, that's how crazy we were. Like that's
because they used to charge you if you didn't rewind it when you brought it back, which is ridiculous because they had 4 of those things sitting on the counter. It's like, just take it out and stick it in there and rewind it real quick.
Netlix must have been looking at that and said, yeah, people are down for some binge watching because if they have a little Corvette next to their VCR tape, we could just figure out a way for them to push a button and get a movie on demand, then we're set.
I don't think I ever have been at anybody's home where they had that. So you had that, huh? So you could.
No, we didn't have it. We didn't have it, but I've seen it places. I mean,
but I always saw it at the video rental place, and it was like, wait, you're going to charge me? I don't know. Would they charge you $1, $2 or something like that? Mm-hmm. If you don't rewind it, you get charged. Maybe it was more. And I thought, well, you have all these rewind units sitting right there. Just rewind it.
You can't rewind?
Oh, no, we're going to rewind it, but it's going to cost you a couple bucks. Anyway, so you can let us know. 805-543-3693 are the phones. You can call or text on the 805 lines.